He has a long resume filled with impressive accomplishments, accolades, and awards, both nationally and locally. He is a pharmacist and a biomedical researcher that has testified before Congress dozens of times. But Dr. Henry Lewis joins us this evening. Thank you for joining us here on Saxon Street to tell us why he is both passionate and inspired by this neighborhood. Thank you. Where are we this evening?
We're in the Greater Bond community. This is 2216 Saxon Street, the house that my father built and I grew up in, along with 6 other siblings.
What kind of neighborhood was this back in the 50s?
This was a vibrant and very thriving community at this time. We're coming up on the corner of Saxon and Campbell Street, where Mrs. Freison operated the Freison's grocery store. Next door to her was Reverend Cobb, who operated the neighborhood barbershop. Across the street from him was Mrs. Oliver, who operated a beauty shop, and next door to her, her husband operated a grocery store. 1 block over was the Cherry Hill grocery store. And in spite of the proximity of all those grocery stores, they all thrived. There was never a food desert here in Bond community. Over the years, the community has been on a decline. And my goal right now is to assist the individuals here who are trying to make a difference and revitalize the Greater Bond community. And I'm passionate about it because I love this community. It's given me everything that I have in order to be successful. When I came to the very first planning meeting that I attended with the Greater Bond Neighborhood Association, I became infected with the enthusiasm that those community members had for improving Bond. And I sat with them for the last year. We put together a plan. That plan was called the Neighborhood First Plan that we presented in December 2018. And they unanimously approved the Neighborhood First Plan and funded it with $6.4 million in order to start the revitalization.
Let's switch gears a little bit. You were the first African-American county commissioner in Leon County since the Reconstruction era. How did that happen? It's a really interesting story.
My mom said I couldn't keep a job, that's why I became a commissioner. But in the early 1980s, the NAACP came before the county commission and proposed that the commission switch from the at-large voting system to single-member districts because we had never had an African-American elected to the Board of County Commissioners. At-large voting allowed every voter in Leon County to vote on each one of the commissioners. And because of that, no African American had been elected. The NAACP asked for the single-member districts. The county at first said no, and the NAACP legally challenged the county and prevailed. Leon County had to change from an at-large system to a single-member district system in which the commissioner was elected to represent a certain area of the county. One of the reasons I think the NAACP approached the county because African Americans in Leon County at the time were voiceless. I felt that I had to serve as the heartbeat and indeed the voice of the African American community in Tallahassee, primarily the South Side, because that's where the district was. Because they were underrepresented at the table, the opportunity to partake in all of the county services was not there.
Talk about FAMU and what did you do there and how did you get affiliated with FAMU?
Long story, but I'll try to make it short if I can. I became a pharmacist because of Mr. Howard Roberts, who owned and operated Economy Drugstore in Frenchtown. I went to the original Lincoln High School and I dated a girl who worked in the drugstore. Back in that day, drugstores had soda fountains, and she worked behind the soda fountain. And I was stopped by almost every evening after school, partake of the sundaes and banana splits, and he finally gave me a job because I was eating up all his profit. I worked in the Economy Drugstore during high school. It was because of him that I became a pharmacist. He made the entree to me to the dean of this then School of Pharmacy at FAMU. He admitted me to the School of Pharmacy, and pretty much the rest is history, except for the fact that it's not often that you come back and be dean of the same College of Pharmacy that you attended. And that was indeed one of the heights of my careers of becoming dean. Because of that, I think we were able to impact African American pharmacists throughout the nation. FAMU FAMU alone, College of Pharmacy, has produced 60% of all of the African Americans with a PhD in one of the pharmaceutical sciences. Over 20% of all black pharmacists in this country graduate from right here in Tallahassee, Florida, at Florida A&M University.
So talk a little bit about your biomedical research.
My area of research interest is in sickle cell anemia. Growing up, a number of kids in our neighborhood had sickle cell, and because of that, they missed a lot of days in school. I didn't know why at the time growing up as a kid, but as I grew up and went to college and started finding out more about the disease and how it impacted African Americans much more than anybody else, I became very interested in it. In fact, in our laboratories in the College of Pharmacy at Florida A&M, Dr. Surinder Lamba was working very hard on a new drug, urea. It was a pioneering drug for treating sickle cell. And he worked with that for a number of years. A number of drug companies actually picked that up and marketed urea as a treatment for sickle cell. Growing up here in Tallahassee, Tallahassee was a segregated southern city. In fact, my graduating class at an original Lincoln High School was the last class to graduate from that high school before integration. At the time that I grew up, there were no black elected officials. And since that time, we've had black mayors, several black commissioners on the city side, a number of black commissioners on the county side. So I've seen it transform from a sleepy southern city to a strong, vibrant, diverse city that it is today.
What do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as an individual who made a difference, who was committed to making sure that he gave back to a community that gave so much to him. The Bond community gave me my start, and it got me to be able to visit those 42 countries, to be able to sit with 2 sitting presidents at the White House, to be able to testify before congressional subcommittees, to be able to start not 1, but 2 additional pharmacy schools, to be able to be a president, not 1, but 2 universities, all from a shotgun house located on Saxon Street in the Bond community of Tallahassee, Florida.